Welcome to Lesson 9, Unit 1. All right, what is the equation of the graph of a quadratic function? Well, we already know what that is, right? We have two forms that we've been using. We've been using a general form and the vertex form. And today we're going to focus on the vertex form. All right, so take a minute and pause this video. And I want you to write down the SWOBOT statement real quick in your notes. I will be able to write the equation of a quadratic function in vertex form given the graph of the function. Basically, you can do this if you're given a vertex and a point on a curve on the quadratic, okay? There's just two things that you require, the vertex and some point. So, the think about it question, all right? Using the key points and notes from yesterday, we were talking about the vertex form, all right? Write an equation of this quadratic function in vertex form. Hopefully you can figure out what the vertex is there because it's important to finding the equation, all right? And then it says, number 2 says, use the graphing function on your calculator to test whether or not your equation indeed matches with the one above. You can go to Wolfram Alpha and type in the equation that you come up with, or you can go to a free graphing calculator. You do a Google search. I think Google even has one themselves that you can use, a free graphing calculator to graph this, all right? And you can download one for your smartphone as well that you can use to check your graph, all right? So I'd like you to try this. I need to see some work, and I need to see that you have done it again because this is going to be, a grade. All right, guys? Now, let's find the equation of the quadratic function. All right, remember we have, we're using the vertex form. That was what I said before, right? Vertex form is f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k, all right? So we need to identify what our vertex is. So the vertex is the max or min, which is the peak or the valley of our parabola, which is right there, right? It's right in there. So we have to identify that point. To me, that looks like the point. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to be the point 1, 7. That's my vertex. So that means that h is 1 and k is 7. So I'm going to plug that into the vertex form. So we have f of x equals a times x minus 1 squared plus 7. All right, are we done yet? Do we have the equation for the quadratic function? If you said yes, that's okay. The answer is no, because we have this pesky a. We need to get rid of that. We need to find a value for a. And in order to find a value for a, I need to look at another point on the quadratic function here, all right? And I like to pick one that's easy to plug into, right? It looks like my graph is going through the point right here, right? 0, 5. So I have another point, 0, 5. That's the y-intercept, right? So what does that mean? That means when I plug 0 in for x, that I get 5 out. All right. So now we're gonna do that. We're gonna plug in 0 and we get 5. So we have 5, right? That's f of x. That's the y value equals a times 0 minus 1 squared plus 7. And we're gonna solve for a now. So we can solve for a. So I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. So it's minus 7. And I have a negative 2 equals a times negative 1 squared. What's negative 1 squared? Negative 1 squared is 1. So a is going to equal negative 2. So now I take that negative 2 right there, and I'm going to plug it in for a up there. All right? So our final answer is f of x equals negative 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 7. So that's my equation for my quadratic function in vertex form. All right? I'd like you to try the next one on your own. Okay? You have to identify the vertex. So what's the vertex? Good, I hope you see it. That was, the vertex is negative 3, comma, negative 5. Okay? And then you need to identify another point. You have a couple options, right? And you should see them there. It looks like it goes through right there at this point, and right here at this one. So you have negative 1, 3, and you have negative 2, negative 3. You can use either one of those points, and you should get the same answer. All right? So let's just get this one done, right? Take a minute and pause the video and see what you get. All right. I hope you tried it, and I hope you got the right answer, and all your work is good. So we get as our initial equation f of x equals a parentheses x plus 3 squared minus 5. So we took and we plugged in h and k from our vertex into the formula. And then we had to pick a point. I used the point negative 1, 3 because it's just, smaller numbers are easier to work with. That's why I chose it. So then we get, I plugged negative 1 in for x and 3 in for f of x because that's our y value. And I simplified it and solved for a, and I got a equals 2. Then you back substitute a equals 2 into our initial equation at the top, and that's what we get. All right? Let's try another one. Oh boy. Did you get the idea here? Can you do this one? All right. On your own, what's the vertex? Step 1, identify the vertex. The vertex here is 1, 2. And then we need another point. Whenever I have a y-intercept for a point, I always like to use that because it's a lot easier. So that's the point 0, 3, all right? So now you have what you need to plug into the quadratic formula, right? Into the vertex form, and you can find the equation. So take a minute, pause the video, and try and solve it. All right. Hopefully you did it, and hopefully you got the same answer. We have f of x equals x minus 1 squared plus 2. A is equal to 1. And that's it. Okay? So we identified a vertex and a point. We plugged it into our vertex form of the equation, and we got the answer. All right? So check your work. Check your, if you use the point 2, 3, then you'll have a slightly different work, but you should get a equals 1, and you should get the same final answer. All right, I would like you guys to try these two problems. Now I want you to write the equations in vertex form for these two parabolas, and I want you to find the zeros of the functions. All right, that's just practice because we need it. Okay, I'd like to see those two things here. So I'm going to let this play for a second, and then you can pause it, and pause it now. One more time. Okay, good. I'd like you to try these, and we'll go over them tomorrow. Thanks, and have a good night.